Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Living on Lemonade podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lauren. I am recording outside of my normal schedule. I didn't release a podcast episode yesterday, so I am recording today and I'm going to post it right away. I've had some stuff going on, and between just not being around to physically do it and just either feeling uninspired or just kind of tired, I guess, which causes the uninspired most of the time. Just wasn't able to get an episode out yesterday. So this episode today is I'm going to do our February kind of intuitive message. So it's looking towards the end of this week for February, and I thought I would release it before instead of like into February for next Monday, and then I'll make some time later this week to record. I've got a couple other topics on my heart, and my plan is to record a couple more episodes and then have them kind of scheduled out because you know how life can just life, and next thing you know, you're kind of behind. So thank you for your patience. Leaning into the vibe of February. I know for me and I'm kind of tuning in and feeling resonance with this, but also like setting the intention that it's for more than just me. When I was starting to kind of quiet my mind and lean in a little bit, I've got a hot chocolate here because I'm still kind of chilly from my walk outside. When I lean in, and when I was kind of quieting my mind, the words that were coming to me that felt strong was like focused attention. And for me, that really resonates because in the winter, at least the last couple years, I've been very intentional about working on some projects and things that just simply fall by the wayside, especially in the summer, but kind of the rest of the year when life is a little bit faster paced, there's more going on outside of work, weather's nice, so you want to just kind of be out and enjoying it and spending time with friends and whatnot. So I started a couple years ago creating a winter to-do list on some of the things that I just wouldn't get to or had no intentions of getting to in the busier season. As I've said before, most of the sewing that I do, quilting, is in the winter, like fall to spring. It's a quieter time for me. I have more kind of capacity and the in creative juices are flowing better, and I just feel more inspired to do it. Um, and then of course there's the other thing. So this winter I am going to be focusing on my home and going room by room on days that I'm off and have no plans and doing kind of a deep clean. So dusting the walls, baseboards, moving furniture, vacuuming in places that are harder to reach, and just, yeah, kind of wiping things down and just bringing in that fresh energy. And also, as part of it, kind of going through things in that room. Is there anything I need to sort or I haven't touched since last year, but had intentions to? Because last year was all about going through, like, I went through every space in the home to at least see what I have and what I've accumulated and start to part with some things, and then other things it's like, okay, now I'm aware of it, maybe I wasn't ready to go through it at the time, like my dad's things, but just having kind of taking an inventory. So this winter for me is continuing that route and going a little deeper and revisiting some of those things and continuing the kind of purging and parting with things. So I feel this strong pull to use this month, this time of year, this season to have focused attention. And if you don't have a winter to-do list, I invite you to consider it if it's something that feels helpful for you. And if it does and you haven't created a list, get quiet a little bit and just like jot down some things. I have a kind of like a whiteboard thing that I write my winter to do, and I have like the things I'm are on my to-do list, and then another column for when it's done. So it's like checklists, and it feels really good to be able to put the things in the done column. What, as you kind of lean in, evaluating some of the shoulds, but getting curious about it and getting clear on like what needs to be done, but what also lights you up along the way. I'm not necessarily excited about cleaning every room in the house. I'm excited about the result and just being like, oh, the house is like it's fresh. It's everything's been kind of wiped down or dusted, and it's good for a bit, right? Those some of those tasks that you simply don't do in the normal cleaning, vacuuming, dusting routine throughout the rest of the year, like doing fans. And I mean, like maybe you are very thorough every time you clean, but I know for me, I just kind of gotta like do some of the jobs and then keep moving with other things. So I don't make time all the time to do some of those more detailed jobs. So I'm very intentional this winter to focus on those things. So what are the things that you want to focus your attention on and make make space for, make time for, but also in doing those things, you're kind of creating, not kind of, but you create both physical, like you clear things physically if you're purging and stuff, and also kind of like energetically too. If like it's interesting how some things they take up room in our brain, right? And it's those things that are kind of in the back of the mind of like, yeah, I have to do that. So is this a season for you to do that? I think that in the kind of cold, especially if you're in a place in a climate that does tend to get cooler or whatever, this time of year in February, what are the things you can do around home? I'm getting like a strong home vibe too. Like how can you focus on your home? What needs to be done around your home to make physical and like energetic, emotional, mental space in your life? Because when we create that space, it allows room for other things. And I've been noticing just through doing it myself that I'm starting to kind of have more capacity. I've been working on like nervous system stuff and creating more capacity. I've noticed changes in just my emotional and mental capacity for things, and I'm available for more in life. And it might sound weird if you don't, if this is kind of a new concept for you, but there really is something to say about how clearing physical spaces and cleaning physical spaces like changes the energy of the room and creates space like in your life in other facets of your life, like I was saying, emotionally, mentally, energetically. And yeah, that I feel a home vibe, and I feel a focused attention and making time for those things that have been on the back of your mind, have been on the to-do list, that are just things you would not do the rest of the year with the way that life flows, but will serve your health, your mental health, your emotional health, and feel very not only nourishing through the process, that's what's coming through next, but fulfillment when you complete those projects. It's like, oh, that's been ongoing forever. Like this quilt top behind me, one of the things on my to-do list is to get backing for it because I'm going to have it quilted, hand quilted. I'm not going to do it myself, but I need to have the supplies ready for when the women who are part of this like quilt, it's like the seniors club where my granny used to go, and they meet every like Tuesday and they quilt and they work on projects, and you can pay them to hand quilt projects. So you're only going to see this if you're watching the video, but when if you've seen any of my trainings and stuff on the Living on Lemonade, I have this quilt behind me that is hung up, but it's just the top. It's just the top. It's not a full quilt. So one of the things is buying backing so that when the women say, okay, you're next in line, I have what I need and the batting, having the supplies to just hand it over, they'll finish the project for me. And then it's like, it's done. It's fulfilling. And other projects that I can complete myself and just finish stuff up, get it out the door. I've been knitting and making things, and then I keep it all in this big, it's like a Marilyn Monroe kind of hard suitcase. So all of the things my mom and I have made for our craft shows, they just live in this suitcase. So it's easy to just store and access. And I've been lessening my load of just crafty things by finishing projects. It allows me to be creative along the way. It feels fulfilling when I've finished something new and either find it a home or it's ready to go if someone's interested, because for up until this year I've always like made to order drink mitts and things like that. So the idea for me of having quilts ready, like a bit of a stock of quilts to sell instead of having to always be reactive to it, feels very like exciting and also nourishing to me. So my focused attention is on completing projects. And even if they don't go out the door right away, having these raw materials into something finished so that during the busier times, if I have interest in something, it's like, hey, I don't have time right now to make that, but this is what I have. Is there something that interests you? And other areas I'm going to go through, this week I'm going to go through all of my clothes and fill some garbage bags full of clothes to donate and just simplify. My word of the year is simplify. And I think that really serves kind of the vibe as I lean into February. So I invite you, if you don't have a winter to-do list, think about it. And what has been kind of nagging at you that may require some work, may require some like focused attention and intention, but would feel really nourishing both while you're doing it and fulfilling when you complete it. If you can add creativity into the mix, that's like it's soul cup filling as you're doing these things, and it doesn't deplete you. It like fills your cup while you're doing these things that you'll be very happy to have the result of and enjoy the journey. Some of the things we just have to do. But how can you make it fun? If you want to clean your house like I am this winter, can you put a podcast on, or you can put some great music and kind of dance your way through the room that you're cleaning and just make it super fun. If you've got kiddos, can they help you? I sell Norwex, so I always speak in Norwex terms, but can you throw them the dusting mitt and have them helping you dust pictures or whatever, and just kind of make the journey fun with these things that you want to accomplish that will give you a sense of fulfillment and grace and just ease of how this how this season is going. And when you come out of it and things start to pick up in the spring, looking back and being like, oh, look at all the stuff I got done. That feels great. No, it's like it's good for a year or like whatever. I've completed a few things this season and it felt really fun to do, and I feel really good about it. So that's the message I have for today. I'm gonna choose a card. This is from the Healing Waters Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. She's one of my favorites. I love her decks. So what message do we need? What's the vibe of February? I like to use my own intuition first, come up with the message, and then see what the card says after. It allows me to be more creative. Oh, it allows me to be more creative and not like get in my head. So if I had pulled the card first, then I'd be trying to match it like in some way, right? So I think it's more magical and fun to channel my own message and then see what the card says. Okay. So the card that flipped over while I was shuffling is the water carrier. What really matters, reflect, and reprioritize. So far, it sounds on point. Okay, here's the message in the booklet. These are Rebecca's words. It says, what really matters, reflect and reprioritize. In most parts of the modern world, humans have become disconnected from each other and the planet. We've forgotten simple things like where the water that sustains us even comes from. We speak about creating harmony and peace on Earth, but really our focus should be on creating harmony and peace with the Earth. Is it possible that it's our disconnection from seeing Earth's resources as sacred that's made us so disconnected? When we look into the future, we can see that without water, there can be no life on Earth. Without water, humanity cannot survive. This is a card about getting your priorities right and focusing on what really truly matters. In our busy world, it's so easy to get swept up in things that seem important and urgent when really, at the end of the day, we realize that worrying about them has been a waste of time, resources, and energy. It's time to take a moment to pause, reflect, and reprioritize, to focus on what really matters, to chop wood and carry water, to care for those in our community, to understand what's really, truly important and act accordingly. The soul inquiry, so these are things to kind of ponder, you could journal about. What are you worrying about or doing that's a waste of time, energy, and resources? And what are you being called to focus on instead? Remembering that the first thing that came to me was focused attention. Now I think I feel this card gives like a very wider perspective, like kind of big perspective look at things. And what I was talking about is more focused on the day-to-day stuff and clearing space for yourself through this, your winter to-do list allows you to open up room and capacity for some of those bigger picture things. When we're in survival and just kind of like squirrel brain and just doing day to day, just getting through each day, we can't see that bigger picture, right? We're just trying to make life work. And when we can clear the space through some of these intentional things for our to-do list, then we create the space to be able to kind of like rest and relax into our life more, create capacity so that we can um, distance ourselves a little bit from some of the matters that are happening and see that broader perspective and welcoming that in as well. So that's kind of what I get from that. I hope today's message is helpful for you. Lean into whatever needs to be done in February and forward in this season of your life. Could be just the smallest things. And if you have an aha moment, feel free to share it with me on socials. Message me on Instagram, on Facebook, or like feel free to come into the Living on Lemonade community. We kind of still building it, and I want to create more kind of prompts so that we can have more conversations and build that community feeling more. It's me clearing the stuff and having more capacity, and more capacity allows me to build that group. So that's one of the things that I'm kind of leaning into and creating as I go. But yeah, find me on socials and let me know what's on your winter to-do list and what your focused attention is on. I'd love to hear it and just have a little chat. All right, everyone, take care and we'll talk soon. Bye.